The recession isn't coming, it's already here. A recession can literally be the difference between you running up a bag or being stuck in that paycheck to paycheck grind for the rest of your life. Make the right moves during a recession and you can build wealth and obtain the assets that'll pay you income forever and ever. Make the wrong moves during a recession and you can find yourself buried in debt and stuck at the bottom class of the economy. If you want to prepare for this recession so you don't get crushed financially, make sure you watch this entire video, because by the end of it, you'll not only know how to survive a recession, but how to come out of it even stronger. Let's get it. There's been a lot of talk in the news and social media about how financial experts and big banks are predicting the US economy is starting to slide into a recession. The more we look all around us, the more we see these signs of recession popping up every single day. Before we jump in on how you're going to survive this recession and come out even stronger, let's actually talk about what a recession is. The technical definition of a recession is when the US gross domestic product, or the GDP, goes negative for 3 consecutive quarters. The GDP pretty much measures the country's growth as a whole. Another factor of a recession is the stock market falling. In our case, the S&P 500 is down more than 20% since the beginning of the year. Another factor of the recession is inflation, which is essentially prices just getting higher. And whether it's gas, clothes, and even things like food and milk, you can tell prices have gone up. More specifically, inflation is actually at about 8% right now. And that's just crazy. That's the highest mark we've seen in decades. And one of the final things that points to a recession is the Fed raising interest rates. The Fed just raised interest rates about 75 bips, which is 0.75%. And that may not seem like too much on the outside. 0.75% could actually equal thousands of dollars more in interest that you're paying as a buyer. Now, we technically haven't seen a recession since about 2008, and that recession lasted about 2 to 3 years, so we didn't come out of it till about 2010, 2011. So let's dive into some of the factors that's actually causing this recession. Now, when you think about it, this has been in the making for about 2 years now, since the pandemic of 2020. That's when the government pumped trillions of dollars into the US economy through bailout initiatives like PPP, PUA, and a lot of other unemployment efforts to keep the country afloat during, what was a crazy time in the pandemic. Now, since everybody had money at that time, you actually started to see companies start raising their prices to keep up with demand. Now, at the same time, with the country pumping out a lot of this money, that starts to actually bring down the value of the US dollar. Because if everybody has money, when you go to spend it, it just isn't worth as much. Recessions can be scary because it can really bury individuals like you and me due to a few different reasons. One being crazy layoffs. So you're starting to hear in the news a lot of these big companies laying off hundreds of employees. Now, this is making a whole bunch of people nervous, and rightfully so, because you never know when your company is about to do mass layoffs and you could be the next one getting fired. And once again, another way that we can get crushed is these rising interest rates. So for an investor like myself, that means when I go buy real estate, when I go buy cars for my TURO business, when I go get loans, the amount of money I'm paying on this loan is a lot more than what I did maybe 1 or 2 years ago. And lastly, one of the biggest things is just the everyday effect on prices. So when we're going out to get things like gas and food, now it's a whole lot more expensive. And we don't have these bailout efforts like PPP and PUA anymore. So when everybody's getting back to their normal wages, prices are still going up, which essentially makes things even harder to buy. Now that we covered a lot of the negative that goes into a recession, let's talk about some of the positive that can come out of it as well. Now, before we get in how you can actually take advantage of this recession, make sure you like and subscribe to this video so you never miss any future bag drops, and we can help push out the channel to more bag chasers just like yourself. So when we actually start to think about this recession, there's still going to be an opportunity for individuals like you and me who are savvy to be able to take advantage of what's actually happening. Number one is companies just can't keep raising prices. So as people start spending less, prices of assets like real estate, cars for your TURO business, and other things that can produce you income are going to start coming down. So what you want to do is start to become a producer instead of a consumer, which means you're going to need a lane or a play to start making money instead of spending it all the time. So a great play here is to actually start a business that can thrive throughout a recession. Yes, some businesses are going to lose customers and lose revenue, but there are also businesses that are going to actually start booming and people are going to start relying on more. One, because prices will start dropping, and two, because just the sheer lack of other options that are going to be in the market. So one of the first things I think about is something that I preach about on the channel all the time, and that's a car rental business. Starting something like TURO and Hire Car. A car sharing business is going to be recession proof because people always need rental cars. Rental cars aren't just used for things like travel and vacation. A lot of people actually use rental cars for things like day-to-day travels when their car is down, as well as gig workers using Uber, DoorDash, and Grubhub, going through sites like HireCar. So when you combine those factors, it's actually a big reason why my car sharing business is still going strong, even though gas prices are high, even though there's a recession looming, because people just still need to take care of day-to-day activities. Another asset that's going to be on sale pretty soon is real estate. So right now, I know real estate prices are super high, but the Fed is just increasing interest rates, which means those loans are going to be a lot more expensive to get, and buyers are going to be a lot less inclined to buy, which ultimately means it's going to be a lot more supply out there, and sellers are going to have to lower their prices. So if you have a business that's still flowing, you're saving your money, and you're creating a lot of cash flow, you're going to be right in line that when these prices drop, you're going to be able to take advantage of things like real estate and buying other income producing assets. The main goal for the next 2 to 3 years throughout this recession is to start building your cash flow. You want to be ready to invest in these assets as soon as the price drop, because essentially you're going to start getting things at a discount. So understanding these principles will not only keep you afloat through a recession, but it's actually going to give you the power to take advantage of what's going on and come out of this recession even stronger. The question is, can you buckle down right now, lock in, and start building these businesses that's going to generate you cash flow, stack your bread, and be able to invest in these assets at a low when the prices drop? So stay on point, bag chaser. And if you do want to start building a car sharing business, make sure you tap into this next video where I tell you exactly what to do to get your TURO business off the ground.